Mermaids. I hail from the island of Nantucket, Massachusetts. I found this painting on the internet of some mermaids enjoying a sandbar at Brent Point in Nantucket, Massachusetts. This image is adorable, yet, I'll say it, completely unrealistic. Mermaids don't stand on their tails like this. You'll note that they are also holding parasols and mirrors. I don't know who brings a mirror to the beach, much less a sandbar. Okay, this is me in high school. I lived on Nantucket until 2001 when we moved to the mainland, the coast south of Boston in a town called Cohasset. Here I am in Cohasset, leaving the Facebook room at my post-prom event. I am emulating merways. You can find this window stained with glass in someone's house on Negley Hill. It's some mermaid chicks making out. Just a bit of the ocean here in Pittsburgh. You may have seen these memes on the web. Mermaids are legendary. Ariel is our most referenced example of a mermaid. Hipster mermaid left the ocean because it's too current. Another thing you may or may not have heard of is the Coney Island Mermaid Parade. I hadn't heard of it until my friend Jess invited me to go. People who love merfun, all kinds of merfolk, have been joining together since 1983 to go to this event in June. I'm going to tell you a series of facts about mermaids. Mermaids look good. Here, Jess, Liz, and I are looking good. This is our band photo. I sing, Jess plays timpani, and Liz plays conch shell horn. Mermaids are characteristically cool folks. They're good swimmers, food lovers, and they are fairly musically inclined. Our band is pretty popular. We have a MySpace page. Look it up. We made our way to Coney Island to witness the beautiful, welcoming crowd. We were a little late, but still saw a lot of glitter and fins. We watched this merchild sail above the sea of people, and as you can see, merkids can float. Mermaids associate with butterfly people. They are an open-minded and tolerant bunch. They love beings who shine, swim, fly, slither, and walk. The Mermaid Parade was like a mashup of Mardi Gras, LGBT Pride, a body painting glitter festival, and the day at the beach. Mermaids are relaxed. They're really chill beings. They don't mind looking a little bit ridiculous, as you can see here. They stick together and form close relationships with one another, and this is just a picture of Jess and I hanging out after some festivities at the Mermaid Parade. Some of those festivities included flying a kite. This kite is smiling, even though the day is gray. Mermaids try to stay positive. I try to stay positive on land. It comes way more naturally in ocean places, but you gotta keep that kite flying. Mermaids color. I brought this coloring book from my childhood. It's an alphabet coloring book, and M is for mermaid. I brought it to Brooklyn so we could warm up, get in the mindset for the parade. You can see here, this mermaid's holding a mirror again. I don't know what that theme is about. On to the fact that mermaids are a little bit crazy sometimes. Beach activities may include freaking out on a jungle gym, burying each other in the sand, eating heart-shaped sandwiches out of coolers, playing games at the beach like starfish or driftwood, where you make the shape of a starfish with your body or the shape of driftwood with your body, and you let the ocean surf pummel you into the shore. Another thing, mermaids definitely have a good time. Sometimes they get into trouble. They don't quite adhere to all the rules. Here, back at the boardwalk, at the Mermaid Day Parade, an enormous bubble floats by as the mermaid crew gets busted for open containers. We were just leisurely carrying our brewskis in brown bags, and the popo started cracking down at like 6 o'clock. So we ended up being punished for our misdemeanor. Mermaids are attracted to shipwrecks. As it turns out, they're also drawn to enchanting, dilapidated car wrecks. I found this rusted mess of parts in King's Estate over by the zoo in Highland Park. Something from the past that is incompatible with the present, but still takes up space. It's a fascinating collection of metal. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Mermaids are hoarders. Ariel loved the forks, the spoons, the knickknacks, the doodads, the thingamajigs. She was all about them. And this is a picture of stuff in my room back in high school. I was trying to organize the chaos. I'm going to go ahead and say that 80% of it was just junk. But I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. Part of this having of stuffing connects to another thing about mermaids. They give gifts. I left a seashell that you can maybe find in this image in a river when I tried to go to Cook Forest. I didn't make it to Cook Forest because there was a sort of detour issue on the road and I didn't take directions very well, so I went the wrong way in an attempt to get there and pulled over the side of the road and like frustratedly walked through a field that was like, it was like fall, maybe turning to winter, so it was a dead field. I like walked over this river that was kind of just calling my name, and I threw a shell in and ate some pepperoni out of a bag and wrote a letter. But the point is I left the shell offering. It's just, giving folks. So this is a picture of my mom. She's in one of those billboard face hole things, enjoying an ice cream cone. I got my affinity for mer things from her. She is the original mermaid for me. She's my mermom. So I hope that today you learned something about mermaids. For more information, visit your local merquarium. Looking back on AC. So I'm on my way to class on a brisk morning, and I pick up a last-minute leaf to put in a container with the other DNA-containing items that everyone else brought to be blended with a hand blender from Target. I picked up this leaf with holes in it. I also picked up a piece of bark that reminded me of wafer cookies and a Nantucket nectar bottle cap with the fact Nantucket Island is 14 miles long. I was a Nantucket Nectar Orange Premium Juice bottle for Halloween in 1997. I submitted this fact to Tom and Tom, the Nectar people, when they handed out fact submission sheets to do so in my 3rd grade class at Nantucket Elementary School. I haven't found my fact on a bottle cap yet. I remember when Nectar Fizz came out. I don't know if it was ever available anywhere off island, but I thought, this is my chance. My fact will appear. I am more realistic about this now. I'm thinking about dressing as this guy for Halloween this year. That circular bench thing in the background looks fun. It reminds me of those tire swings that hang from 3 chains. These tires would make good tire swings. Anyway, Halloween was always a big event on the rock that is Nantucket. I couldn't tell you why natives call it that. It's more of a sandbar, but I suppose sand is just small rocks. The whole town stays open for Halloween in the evening. This is Main Street. The town provides a map of trick-or-treating routes, including registered haunted houses. In 1998, I won a blue ribbon for Most Original Costume. I proudly accepted the ribbon, dressed as a golden robot with dryer vent arms, a UNICEF box on my body, and a box that said, "Input candy." I remember UNICEF had some kind of controversy around it that I never quite understood. I could be completely fabricating this, but it is a memory that I have. Another possibly fabricated controversy was the Hart sisters' lemonade stand business practices. Lemonade was normally 25 cents, and water was free. We lived right on the bike path, people were thirsty, they didn't need to be ripped off. However, one year, Giselle and I thought it would be great to change our prices. $1 for the lemon stuff, and a quarter for fresh Nantucket H2O. I'm imagining outrage, but I think it didn't last for moralistic reasons. One time, some people on bicycles came by without funds. They gave us an IOU. They returned an hour later in a black SUV and paid for our goods. They returned an hour later in their car, a black SUV, and paid us for our goods. A really good day for a lemonade stand on Nantucket is Daffodil Day, at the end of April. Everyone and their rich uncle brings their fancy cars out and decorates them with daffodils and yellow paraphernalia. I have one picture of my mom's 1965 Mustang convertible, Jackie, dressed up in yellow garb. I can't find it. The cars congregate for judging on Main Street. After the distribution of ribbons, they all drive in a parade, throwing candy at onlookers. Their destination is a picnic in Sconset, on the other end of the island, where we live. This is a real image of the picnic, not some, stock image. It's pretty fancy stuff. This all happens down at the village by the Rotary, mile 7.5-ish. This stone is at mile pi. You see, it's called the Milestone Road. I think this is a funny joke. My house is at mile 7. The stone has been gone for years. In the backyard, there is a rope swing that my dad made. The seat is circular. This is not a picture of it. It could be a picture of my sister because she has red hair. Maybe if our yard was in the background and it had her face. Here is a pie chart of the girl who could be my sister having fun. This is where I got that circle. I searched circle no background PNG. I don't have Photoshop on my computer. Massachusetts and me. Have you ever been driving down the road in West Barnstable and you see a sign for Tomato Talk? When you come back to the sign, 2.5 hours later, it's been changed to Spaghetti Supper. Well, that's what happened to me. To make up for my loss, I took some pictures of the plentiful bunch of fire hydrants sitting in the parking lot, quirkily painted, dancing in the Massachusetts sun, and I noticed behind them a sign for fire danger. Today is moderate, number 2. My Aunt Ginny used to point with her fist and say, "Danger!" to identify risks to her son Mark, with a C, when he was a young boy. More fire hydrants sat submerged in earth in the other side of the parking lot. In the flats of Shadyside, the tar shore washes over the curb, an example of the ocean that exists in Pittsburgh. Here it is, lapping pavement at Elmer and Bellefonte. Another entanglement of the ocean in Pittsburgh is pictured here. A shell found on a shore in Massachusetts that currently resides in this most livable city. The shell, known as the New England Neptune, is the state shell of Massachusetts. Found on a walk after a pretty wicked storm, Millie had given it to me. We looked up what it was in a laminated brochure and found that it was a rare treasure from deep waters, usually found in lobster traps and nets, 2.5 to 3 inches. Millie decided she wanted it back. But I brought it to Pittsburgh. I've drawn pictures of it 37 out of 40 times. Once I draw it 3 more times, I'll mail it back to her. Here is Flash at the site of the shell finding, a low tide vortex of aquatic positivity. Here is Flash with my mom enjoying rocks and snow. Here is Flash in Maine for a face. When my mom was in high school, she had a horse named Sundance. He was afraid of puddles. She sure does love horses. What's that? Oh, that's the Hyundai Rockbuster. Not what you were asking about. Well, the watch I'm wearing in that photograph is pretty personally historic. I made a purchase of this watch at Target in 2007. Since then, I've had 3 other iterations of this watch purchased at Target for the low price of $14.99. When it breaks, I buy a new one. However, Target no longer carries this watch. I could replace the battery, or I could move on. Instead, I use my phone to tell time, and watch lists search the internet for a new gecko timekeeper. A place I've been that lizards would not enjoy is this dark, cool, dusty area under the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. You can see the writing on the wall clearly states 2.5, universal sign for lizard. No. Elijah records the sound of cars passing through the cement structure. He holds a bag of bread. It is my birthday. On an unbirthday, working in the library, Elijah and I decided to take a break by opening an art book at random. I picked up John Wall, 1990, and opened to this page. It's an image of a photograph taken by John Wall called The Goat from 1989. What's spectacular about this image is not the content, but the fact that some anonymous library goer selected it from the book and then cut, probably with an X-Acto, part of the photograph out of the book. They then did a Google search for the image of the goat from 1989, John Wall, found this one that exists in the book, printed a grainy copy of it, and pasted it with almost the same dimensions back into the book. Here it is from the back. As you can see, it wasn't a perfect job, but they really tried in their act of vandalism to also make a replacement. Bizarre. Finding this custom book made me wonder about all the other possible altered library books I would never find. I advise you to be on the lookout. Never tease a weasel. This turkey's all dressed up. A weasel will not like it, and teasing isn't nice. This is a serious matter. I want to show you what you should give your D for dog. Or, in Marissa of the Internet's case, what she gave her kids to commemorate dogs. It's a custom spread on a muffin tin. Now she says D is for dog. I'm going to have to segue here and tell you that for me, D is for disappointed. Here is an image of a girl dropping her ice cream out of her cone. It is a graphic from the ABC Feelings placemat coloring book and book on tape set that I had when I was a kid. I have the soundbite in my head. Disappointed. The range of human emotions is vast and complicated. There's a lot we can do with our talents, ideas, feelings, and desires. So back to what Melissa did. She took this picture of a meal she made for her kids. We ate string cheese bones, mini corn dogs, puppy chow, frozen puppies, and a pepperoni paw print, a dog bone cracker, and mini Oreo spots. She says on her blog, "Life is phantasmic." I had not heard of this word, so I had to look it up. Phantasmic. Disneyland nighttime show featuring fireworks, live actors, water effects, fire, music, several boats, decorated rafts, and projections onto large mist screens with reworked Disney animation. Okay, but teasing animals. Now, interweasel teasing is one thing that is, different. It's acceptable in my book. These are least weasels. Here's someone teasing a least weasel by poking him and making him sit on a paper towel. Would you want to be made to sit on a paper towel? Would you, if you were this goat and you were, say, eating a tin can, want someone to make fun of you for eating a tin can? I think not. Here is something completely unacceptable. These people are taking pictures for like a vacation in front of a dead whale. Mockery. Just terrible. Now, one thing I have to say is seagulls are jerks. And they almost deserve to be teased. It's not so much that. It's more that they can just take it because they're tough birds. Well, you may be wondering, why are you telling me about this? Well, it's rooted really in a story I heard when I was a child from a book on tape read by Jack Nicholson, written by Rudyard Kipling, called The Elephant's Child. You should really look it up. This is a picture of the great gray, green, greasy banks of the Limpopo River all set about with fever trees. Just imagine Jack Nicholson reading that. Something would set in your brain. The elephant in the story has a problem with asking a lot of questions, and his family members spank him for his insatiable curiosity. You can imagine where that goes. So David Shrigley did a pretty good job here of teasing beachgoers. I'm really not sure if the people and the animals at the beach noticed this, but most of these guys are frowning. This one in the front seems to be smiling. I just want to say that you should think about complimenting a turkey next time you see him or her dressed up. It's really good advice. Never tease a weasel. Now I've said it thrice. Here's what you do if you find yourself about to tease an animal. Call a friend. Talk it out. Do maybe a collaborative drawing with a child. This one is done by comic artist James Kochalka and his son Eli. Mr. Kochalka did some of the music for the 90s television show on Nickelodeon, Kablam. It ran between 1996 and 2000, and these are some images from Kablam. Other methods that I'm going to recommend to you, a nap is a good idea. It's a nice reset, a way to relax. Maybe play a game of low-tech Old Glory, like handheld solitaire or Maybe make an Etch-a-Sketch drawing of someone else playing handheld solitaire. You should ignore naysayers and strut your stuff. Tune in to fine details and realize implications of your actions. This is your brain on weasels. Never Tease a Weasel is a book by Jean Condor Soul, originally published in 1964, illustrations by Denman Hampson. Let me end here with a recommendation to read the essay Living Like Weasels by Annie Dillard of Pittsburgh. Dillard advocates holding on to single necessity with passion, ferocity, and abandon, simultaneously advising us that we practice a weasel's mindlessness and presence in the moment of the world around us.